Massive issues with the new features are crazy annoying and making tiny little fight animations. Crystal compensation coming for the incorrect drop rates again. Nebula is getting bleeds and poisons. Oh my god, another bug. And is there a mistake with the Ikaris SP3 abilities info? Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show. For Wednesday, so it is. Make sure if you haven't already to hit the subscribe button, post notifications on, or hit the like button, do all that stuff, because YouTube and stuff, and I fling my arms around. And also, big kisses and smooches to the lovely Patreons and YouTube members. You're on screen now. Thanks very much for doing all the support, the love. Appreciate ya. Also, those that support on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. That's where I do all the live streaming ting too. So yeah, if you have an Amazon Prime account, I don't know what's wrong with me. If you've got an Amazon Prime account and you want to give a free Twitch sub, you can do. And yeah, like go and check out the streams on Twitch. Thanks to tier 1 subs, tier 2 subs, people that give bits and donations. Appreciate you. And see you later on for some new Cavalier difficulty streaming. But oi, you! We got to get on with some nosy stuff. Yeah, that's right, there's some news to go over within the community. First of all, starting off with the Cavalier Nexus Crystal Dealy thing. This was all about the 6-star daily bundle that drops from time to time. And this last time it dropped in, I bought it because, well, Cavalier Nexuses, they're kind of like, they're fun, and as well it's good for kind of like putting out a video, so expect a video from me very, very soon. And even Kabam decided to give us a little bit of a treat in that if you bought it, you're more than likely going to get compensation. Bit of a risk factor to take in buying it, and especially buying it at the duff rate. The duff rate can be seen right here, 0.8% chance of getting a 6-star from those crystals, and 0.2 for a 6-star Nexus. Those are very incorrect base percentages, especially because, like, you know, everyone was like, okay, well, I bought them, but, you know, some people got lucky with the duff rate, well done, but then other people would not get the better rate and would therefore see things like this. Unfortunately for me, who's someone who posts something about that very early on when this all kind of like went live, and I did say, like, you know, it's not gospel, you know, you can get it and you may get the good stuff, but if you don't get it at the 0.8, you probably bought it at the kind of the rate that it was going to be like not giving you compensation. So I got it at 0.8. And as Kabam Mike says, I can confirm that these were the wrong drop rates. We fixed the issue, and those that purchased the crystals before the fix went out will get the correct crystals at some point in the near future. Sorry about that, folks. Now, moving on to good news. Yes, good news. You'd be surprised sometimes I even talk about good things that are going on within this community. Apart from Art Corner on a Fridays and various other things that are positive about the game. There are some good things about the game. It's an alright game. It just... The developer sometimes needs to kick up the butt. In any case, the Prologue Initiative, okay? Improving Acts 1 through to 4. This is good news for early progression of the game. And one of the big things is indeed accelerating players. The biggest problem Kabam has is they keep pushing that narrative, I keep using that word a bit too much, the narrative that players have to push up to Thronebreaker as soon as possible and learn the game as quickly as possible. This is so that they can start making content in a very kind of singular way, and the problem they have at the moment is they're not really putting out a lot of content for lower players. There's no kind of like lower versions of boss rushes. There's no you know, side events that feel like, okay, well, you're kind of got something at your level that's getting you something to make you jump to the next level. That's really the problem that Kabam have. So what they're trying to do is elevate players upwards, and it's a good strategy to use, but at the same time it's put everyone in through a crash course. It's like a sink or swim type thing and dropping you in the deep end, and maybe that's what they want to do right here. But they're making some real kind of like improvements and changes. Unfortunately, there's nothing to rewards, and that is one thing I would say, like, if you want to get players up further, is start giving them at the end of this content better rewards so they can start making better progress through various different parts of the game. Acts 1 to 3 are going to make some massive changes. Acts 1 and 2 now consist of 1 chapter and 6 quests each. This is going to be where it's going to be alright, but it's going to be a bit annoying for kind of like putting together dual targets. But, you know, there could be more kind of like, or not dual targets, but kind of like targets to go and fight in various different kinds of quests. But it means I'll have to redo a spreadsheet. I guess that is what it is. And now Act 3 consists of 2 chapters and of 6 quests each. So this can only be good news of things to come, especially with Act 4 removing a number of paths across the act to reduce the number of times a quest must be played for full exploration, reduce the number of fights on many paths, removed hidden information across the act, which, like, you know, facing against that Magneto, I think it is, with the regeneration in Act 4 somewhere, and as well as a few others. It can be quite annoying at times for this stuff. Reduce buff potency in some of the quests, replaced and removed some of the more punishing buffs. Excellent. You know, this may even be something that, I don't know, I think M might have 100% at Act 4, but maybe there's something that would be more kind of like interesting for her to like return back to play, especially for a lot of players that kind of blitz through it and then kind of focusing on things like Act 5 and making gains into monthly based content and starting off things in Act 6, or even kind of thinking about things like variants. But yeah, this is all very good to streamline things, and I do agree with streamlining the lower progression stuff, especially to kind of the first taste that players get is that it's not particularly fun. Well, let them have their fun first off with the game. And with all that good news for new players, we now go back to the bump in the ground when it comes to issues, especially from the latest update. One of the first issues is kind of this. So the skip button in SP3 is now leading to giant champions and small enemies, or small champions and big enemies, which can be highlighted in this video here, where you're just like a tiny lightning dot that just got, what the heck is that? It's just like a random thing. It's like someone in Quidditch has just got that thing that's just kind of like, I don't know, attacking back Harry Potter or something. It even looks a bit like that with glass. Now, there's a lot, you know, with this new update, there was a lot of these kind of quality of life or kind of extra little bits of improvements and some beta features. Some of those beta features were indeed things like stats on the screen and information at the point of the fight ending, but also there was other things as well, like the Flash. Okay, and I'm not talking about DC Flash here. I'm talking about as soon as you finish a fight, that you've got this massive burst of light. I mean, Kabam's a bit responsive here to say, hey there, would anyone have to have any footage? But this is your game. It looks like that. Even looking at it, it's just like, if I was a vampire, and by the way, I'm just about to watch What We Do in the Shadows Series 3, I'd be like this. Because that's what it's like. It is just this glaring light that just kind of like right at the end just goes, ah, just scares you half to death, where it just goes in your face. Again, if you want an example, just like that, just like. And in any case, you've probably seen some of the kind of information and of the features. Like, you can opt into this, the beta features, so look out to kind of like opt into that if you're interested. But as Kabam said here, summoners, we are turning off the new skip SP3 button while we work to address some issues that are being caused by the button. We hope to return the button as soon as we can. And that's the thing, as soon as it's back, I think it's going to be handy for things like doing arena, doing some content with like SP3s are more common, and so you want to skip past them and stuff. It's good, but yeah, it looks like there's been a little bit of an error right there. But it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. And now moving on to something, and that's all about Ikaris SP3. Now, a lot of people have noticed that on the Ikaris abilities, it says 225 of max. Now, that's still very much correct with what it is in game, because you're like, right, so you can get 225 max incinerates. Is that correct? Even more so because that will interact with the SP3, being each incinerate debuff on the opponent grants 635.1 attack rating for this attack, consuming all but 10 incinerates. And yeah, like the stats kind of like interesting to how it reads, because it says, does this mean I stack 225 debuffs on the opponent and fire off an SP3, I'll gain 225 times 635 attack rating equals 143,000 attack rating for this attack. So yeah, does that read correct? First of all, Command Mike says this is correct. Ikaris kit revolves around getting incinerates on your opponent. They're pretty low potency, and then cashing in through these high damage moments. It won't always be easy, but like Proxima, there's potential for some huge damage. Okay, Then again, reading on. Okay, I looked into this, but I want to look into it some more. You're right that this is really high, so I want to be sure before committing to anything. And then, so, I don't know, are we going to see something with Ikaris being like, okay, so now Ikaris is going to be like dealing some like insane amounts of damage? Is this like the most powerful SP3 there's going to ever be in game, based on the fact if anybody has incinerates on them? I don't know, but we're on a maybe at the moment. We're waiting to see what happens with any further responses to this this thread from Kabam Mike, and find out if that's indeed the case. And also when you get to use the champion, whether or not there's going to be some excellent SP3 damage based on incinerates being consumed, or is there going to be some average? Is it going to be a case that things will change? Because as it stands, there is going to be 500. It says 508.08. Well, what do you know? I'm in a bit of a shock. I kind of like didn't twig it as I was recording this, but it looks like that's been changed. So Kabam have changed it to read 508.08 attack rating for this. So they've changed it, and also they've done that true damage attack that applies a bonus plus 1270.2 attack rating per unique buff currently on Ikaris. So he's already been, prior to release, nerfed. Wow, there you go. There's a bit of an exclusive right there from like yesterday when this was posted to where it is now. This is all should be the same exact stats that's being presented right here with what is it Rookie has put. Like, yeah, all the stats remain the same there. And again, just kind of like, again, just looking over here, that's crazy, man. So he's been nerfed before release. So Kabam must have seen that he was doing much more damage than he was before, and have kind of like taken down that SP3 potency. Not ridiculously, like I don't think it's going to be ridiculously lower on kind of like the interaction, but it's definitely kind of like seen a lot less. The 225 incinerate thing remains the same, and just the building I think is going to be the next thing. But yeah, the true damage attack that applies has been reduced down to 1270. That's been slashed, but nearly half, not completely, but nearly half. And then the attack rating of for each debuff has been reduced by 127. So yeah, it's just quite a change. But we'll see what happens when the champion's put in. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, not 100% sure where this is, but Nebula is our next focus point. Nebula seems to have a bug in certain places, in that in certain fights, she's been able to receive a poison and bleed debuff, you know, Suicide Masteries, let's say. So basically, if anybody that rocks Suicide Masteries, be warned, in some content, or maybe against Apocalypse specifically, this may be an Apocalypse specific based fight interaction problem, as Cyric says here, Apocalypse fights only, it seems. Kabam, if you're watching, please look into it. That would be most cool. Now we move on to the final bit of coverage, final bit of story, and that is the Dr. Voodoo featured and Shang-Chi basic arena. Ooh-wee! This is going to be spicy. There's going to be a lot on in the game for people to grind out. So whether or not people are going to be going ham when it comes to the arena, it could push up some arena scores in the basic to some kind of levels, which I ain't never seen they get to them levels before. So my predictions, and again, a bit of a tough one, especially from the last kind of like week that we've had with the null side of things. And at Dr. Voodoo, I'm going with as a 6 to 120 mil. I kind of feel like because there's so much new content, there's the other arena going on with the platinum pool thing, and players may be interested to grind that. It may overshadow, especially for the first day or two, the kind of other arenas going on, and as well because Shang-Chi is in. Dr. Voodoo is a 5-star, I think is a strong lock at 40 mil. I even think that could go less than that, down to at least 35 mil. And then Shang-Chi is a 6-star, I'm going with 80 mil. It may be seen that that is either like a bit too much, or it's a case like it's too little. And that's the tough thing about this basic arena. There's not normally a time when arena cutoffs have pushed past that 65 to, well, lower 70 sweet spot in the basic arena, but I'm definitely going with that being a strong lock. And same thing with Shang-Chi as a 5-star, I'm going with 30 mil. I do think that's going to be fine. However though, it may be best to push that up, and it may be a case of going, instead of being like 30 mil for that champion, is going for 40 mil, because it is the basic arena for the 5-star, and players may not be too interested with that and may try and like push towards that top end. But you know, if you missed out the first time, you may want to get it for a second time. In any case, that has been the Marvel Contest of Champions news show for Wednesday. We'll see you later on for lots of update videos, and as well throughout the week as well. Keep locked to the channel for lots of content, and let's push to 60k. We got up to 59.7k last night, so let's try and push to that 60k sweet spot. Appreciate you. See you later on for more content. Bye bye.